Thank you very much. Vielen Dank. Guten Morgen. You heard about me. You will hear a little bit about EU urban mobility policy, and you're probably wondering, is the EU not busy enough with standardizing the size of bananas and cucumbers? And now they want to do urban mobility as well. So why urban mobility in the EU? Of course, what happens in the city is very much a decision of the city itself. Huh? So the way you use e-scooters here in Berlin or don't use them is totally different from Paris, for example. The way that you can enter the city here and you need a green sticker is different from the Belgian system, where actually there's number plate recognition. By the way, if you intend during your summer holiday to go with your electric car into Antwerp or Brussels or Lille in France, please check online first whether you need to and register, because you might be fined because they don't recognize you if you have a German number plate. So why urban mobility on EU level? Next slide, please. I've got the clicker here. I've got the clicker here. So we have several actions that we're doing there, and we're doing this since 2013. And why? Because 70% of the EU population actually live in cities. The size of these cities and urban areas is about 4%. So basically 70% of all Europeans, everyone living in Europe, live in 4% of the area, which also comes back to the issue that yesterday was touched upon a bit. So rural mobility. It's not, a lot is happening in the city, but not all is happening in the city. We want to help cities, but also have something to do for Europe as a whole. So if 70% of the people live there and a lot of the traffic is going in and out of cities and happens in cities, then this is a common problem or a common challenge or a common opportunity for better mobility, for new mobility services. You see there the different areas that we're dealing with on European level, and most of it is actually discussing with cities, discussing with member states, because we cannot, as I said already, tell a city that they have to have a tram or bikes or no bikes or an underground or no underground. But we can give advice and we can help to share best practices. You see there also cycling, and I think yesterday someone said the minister was talking about cycling. It might have been because he was in Brussels 2 months ago, where we signed the European Declaration on Cycling. It's something my unit is dealing with as well. So we have a declaration on cycling. Again, it's not binding, but it has a lot of good recommendations. So cities, we have a lot in Europe, and you see here many dots, and you can't see all the dots. If you were to count them all, probably not on this slide, but if you count them on the document that is behind that slide, you will come to 432. So 432 cities, the largest cities in Europe, of which 78 are in Germany. So these are the cities of more than 100,000 inhabitants. And you see, of course, that not everything happens just in the city, but it happens between the cities. So the major transport streams, these are the 10T networks for those maybe who are familiar with that. So the 9 major traffic streams through Europe, they go through these cities. And they don't only go through there. Most people don't want to be on a motorway, right? They want to get from one city to another city, or maybe from a rural area to a city, or the other way around. So no one has the intention of staying on a motorway. No one has the intention of being stuck in a train in the middle of nowhere. You want to get to the train station. So, but these connectors there, they connect cities. So if we want to connect cities, then we have to ensure that actually you can find similar conditions. And we talked a lot yesterday about electromobility. Can I recharge my electric car in the other city? Can I enter with my electric car into the low emission zone of Antwerp? Why don't they know me? Why don't they know that I have a zero emission car? And they send me a bill afterwards of 150 euros. And believe me, we get about once a month a complaint from a European citizen saying, how dare the city of Antwerp charge me 150 euros for my electric car? There is something to be done to help also with the connections. And you see here a little bit a timeline for this network. So this network there actually has to be completed in the next 10, 15 years. Why is this network important? Because now we have actually legislation. We are very close to having a European law that is directly implemented then for the 78 cities in Germany, for the 432 cities in Europe. They have to have a sustainable urban mobility plan, and they have to have this by the end of December. So what do they have to do in there? Again, this plan is not going to say you have to have a tram, or do you have to have the following tram line, or you have to have a cycling lane. But what it says is you have to look into these different objectives. And you can see here that also on national area there have to be contact points, and one of them actually the German contact point, Mrs. Katja Attinger was here yesterday as well, so in the Ministry of Transport, so she's coordinating the different cities to this. And we will have indicators. If you have a plan, you want to see also, of course, are you making progress with implementing your plan? So we want to establish a baseline, and we want to help cities to monitor their progress. So cities will have to monitor in several areas: sustainability, safety, accessibility. The indicators as such, the concrete indicators, still have to be developed. And we're not doing this on our own in Brussels, but we're doing this together with the cities. We've actually already asked them, what are they measuring today? And we will together with them develop this over the next roughly year and a half. So then we will have a common set of indicators, and they will be applied from end of 2027. And how are we doing this? We are actually working with cities, we are working with member states, so we have an expert group on urban mobility. You see some of the members there. I think you also see Maurizio there. Are you on there? You will hear him later on. Yeah, he might be on there as well. So we have an expert group in which each member state has one representative at least, and we have selected 25 representatives of cities, of regions, and 25 representatives of organizations. So it's a wide-ranging organization, from car manufacturers to cycling organizations, and with them. We are working further in these 6 areas there. So to help the cities, but also to help with the common framework for urban mobility. So the Sustainable Urban Mobility Plans monitoring implementation. 432 have to do it soon. How can they do this? We will give them some advice. We will share experiences. Those who are already advanced are sharing experiences with the others. Urban Vehicle Access Regulation, the stickers. Green sticker in Germany, yellow, pink, blue and something else in France. Nothing at all in the UK and in the Netherlands and Belgium, because they have automatic number plate recognition. I hear you shouting Datenschutz. It's a term. Datenschutz is actually a term that is known. The German term is known in Brussels. So and known and feared. The British, the Dutch and the Belgians have no problem whatsoever with their number plates being recognized by cameras automatically in the system. We want to see how can we bring this together. So some countries use stickers, some use number plate recognition. What kind of a common solution can we find so that you don't get fined 150 euros for entering with your electric car into Antwerp? Public transport, shared mobility, which is actually the backbone. So if we talk about urban mobility, we will only solve this if we have appropriate public transport system. And appropriate means also one that is attractive. So it's attractive, it's affordable, and people actually want to use it. They want to leave their car at home. They're not forced to leave their car at home, but they would like to leave their car at home because it's so much more comfortable to use public transport. Urban logistics, we shouldn't forget about that. We've seen during the pandemic increases 25% year over year in urban logistics, in home deliveries, and it might have slowed down a little bit now, but in overall, so this increase has slowed down a little bit, but overall it is further increasing. And you all know the problem about the delivery vans that are parking in the street, and several of them. So what can we do about that, and how can we decarbonize that? Active mobility and safety of vulnerable road users. The more people cycle and walk, which is fantastic, the more we see also the issues with safety. We talked about that yesterday, I think, a bit as well. So how can we ensure the safety and also the safety of cyclists with other cyclists? If I talk to my Danish colleagues, we had this example of Denmark yesterday, they have fantastic infrastructure and they have actually quite some accidents between cyclists. So any Dane can tell you about an accident between two cyclists that happened in Copenhagen. And the more people walk and cycle, the more actually we will see, and unfortunately we have started to see these issues. We've seen them with electric bikes, so safety is an issue that we need to tackle and where we need to find better solutions. And last but not least, the future of urban mobility and inclusive, sustainable urban space. Because the one thing that's really limited in the city is space. Most other things you can solve and you can do something about, but you can't multiply the space. It's there only once. So how do we use this best in the future? That's another working group. And these working groups, they actually deliver reports. If you can Google this, so expert group on urban mobility, it's publicly available. They already have a couple of reports all out on public transport. How can we improve public transport? We recently had a report on urban vehicle access regulations, and quite soon there will be more reports in all these areas. So if you're interested in any of these 6 areas, please look out for the reports that are coming up. So that's kind of my run through urban mobility. Why is the EU doing something there? And we actually want to do it. We are doing it together with the cities and with member states and for them. So I'd just like to finish again where I kind of started. We don't want to tell a city what to do, but we want to tell the cities, we want to help the cities, and we want to harmonize. We need this harmonization across Europe, and we believe with this harmonization also, we will become better in innovating. Yesterday, a lot of discussions about electromobility, digitalization and others. This is, and I don't go back to the slide, the slide with Europe. This is also a huge market and a huge opportunity for digital technologies, for cleaner mobility, for cycling, for better rail connections. So we have huge opportunities in there that we would like to gather with the cities benefit from. Thank you very much.